Well, hello there. Welcome to another session of Departures Lounge, virtual travel talks. And we're really excited today to have a really interesting speaker with us, and it's Shauna Carter from AmaWaterways. And Shauna is going to be talking to us about Vietnam, Cambodia, and the Mekong River, which is near and dear to my heart because I sailed with AmaWaterways a couple of years ago now, and it was a real highlight for me. So Shauna, tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's hear more about, well, first of all, I want to introduce Kathy Larson. And Kathy is the co-owner of Sydney Departures Travel, along with myself, and I am the owner of the Victoria Departures Travel. So Shauna, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you. I've been now with AmaWaterways for 10 years, but I've actually been in travel for this month, I hate to say it, 40 years. I have had the great pleasure of working for airlines. I worked for Princess Cruises for many years. And as I said, now I've been at AmaWaterways for 10 years. So I've got to experience all different types of travel, whether it was by land or by sea or now by river. And so Vietnam and Cambodia, and especially sailing on the Mekong, has been a huge highlight for me to come and experience this beautiful destination.
It really is absolutely stunning. So why don't we just dive right in? You can take us away on a beautiful journey.
Great. Well, as I said, it's one of my favorite experiences, and it was very near and dear to my heart because I found it to be a soul-changing experience. I love traveling all through Europe. It's a beautiful part of the world. Culture, food, history. I loved going to Africa and seeing the animals. But when you come into Vietnam and Cambodia, it's really about these people and their incredible, generous spirit and their heart. They are really lovely people, and it is a very unique history as well. So about 6 years ago, I had the opportunity to travel there in August, and then, which is a very humid time of year, but it's still a really lovely time. And then just this past December, I wanted to come back. I loved it so much, I thought, I have to go back and see if it still really is great as I remember it. And so I took 6 of my girlfriends and my daughter. And I am so grateful that we were able to go back because it was actually twice as good as it was the first time. And because every year we do it, it just gets better and better. So we have 2 different ways of doing this incredible itinerary. That's just some of our lovely crew members there who are there to look after you. But we have 2 different ways to do this itinerary. It's a 15-night package that takes in Halong Bay and Hanoi. Of course, the capital of Vietnam is Hanoi. And then you can fly down to Siem Reap and spend 3 nights in this beautiful area, of course, to take in the UNESCO site of Angkor Wat and all those incredible temples there. And then at this point, this is when you can get on the cruise, sail down 7 nights into Ho Chi Minh City to spend 3 nights in the former Saigon city. But the way I did it in December is I actually came in the reverse direction. So 15-night package going downstream, or you can go 15 nights upstream. So I'm going to show you what I did, which was coming up. So we flew into Ho Chi Minh City, and this is a city of about 9 million people. And it's a great city to just walk about. We stay at the Sofitel Plaza, so you've got a really beautiful hotel, nice and comfortable to stay in. Great food, lovely rooms, and very central in the middle of the city. Now, when you're with us, you're going to have your cruise manager with you from the ship, and they're there to, look after us the whole time we're there. While we're touring, you have the opportunity to go out and see the Cu Chi tunnels. They're about an hour outside of the city. And of course, this was where, the Vietnamese were hiding during the war in these tiny, tiny little tunnels. And you'll be doing city touring and so much more. But it's a great city just to get out and walk about. There's beautiful parks. You can stop and have a coconut. They'll cut it open for you, have beautiful fresh coconut water, lots of shopping from, the central market with all your good fun bartering and, shopping in there, right down to shopping at, Louis Vuitton or Prada or whatever you're looking for. I personally don't go to these areas to shop, although I do love going into the markets. That's just the room there. Something else we'll see while we're there, of course, is the presidential palace. Ho Chi Minh was the president from 1945 to 1969. And so you get to tour through the palace. They have their own Notre Dame Cathedral here in Ho Chi Minh. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful cathedral, but you can just see there's so much lush green park land as you walk through here, sit at a little cafe, have a beer. I mean, food is so inexpensive here, or, a beer, which is a couple of dollars, and you just, can take in the sights. Another highlight is heading over to the Ho Chi Minh City Central Post Office, which today still works as a post office, but really the post office is more about picking up some unique art pieces. They have some, craftsman and artisan pieces there. They have some jewelry that's made by local folks. And we picked up some lovely little paintings and things like that. So even though it's called the post office, it's more like a tourist office, really, to come and see. There's the central market there, and it's huge once you get inside. So if you want to go in and, buy your t-shirts and your Converse runners and your, flip-flops and whatever it might be, they have just about everything from nuts to bolts to food to clothes to everything you want. And it's just fun to go in and talk to the local people there. So once we leave Ho Chi Minh City, then we're heading over to the ship because we have to make our way to the Mekong River. And this can take anywhere from maybe 2 to 3 hours to get there. It really depends on the traffic. I mean, it's 9 million people in the city, and there's a lot of motorbikes there too. It's amazing because you'll be driving along and all of a sudden you'll see, motorbikes going by with 6 people on one bike. They've got flowers, they have babies, they have, windows, they have everything you can imagine on top of these bikes. So we'll make our way to the ship so we can get on board. And the ship is about 124 people. It's a beautiful ship, nice and comfortable, nice large staterooms. Your crew, this was our wonderful crew who were there to greet us. And again, it's all about the people. They really, you can have a great ship, you can have great food, but without the people there that bring that spirit and that heart, it's not the same kind of holiday. And they just want to look after you and make sure you just have this wonderful time. When you're on the ship as well, you'll have 3 dedicated tour guides that we'll break the groups into the guests into small groups, and everybody can go off with the tour guides when we're doing all the touring, which is of course included. You have a nice balcony stateroom there. That's the lead-in category. So nice and spacious. You've got Wi-Fi in the room. You've got a big TV, but by the time nighttime comes along, you really just want to take in that sunset, have a nice meal, and then usually maybe have a drink up on deck, but otherwise you're probably ready for bed at that point because the days become quite busy as we're touring. The lounge is lovely. We include all your local spirits and beer. We have lovely wine at lunch and dinner. The dining room is lovely. And here we do have buffets and such for breakfast and lunch. And of course, moving forward, this will probably change in terms of that we will no longer have self-serve. Everything will be served to the guests. So that will change a little bit, but that's okay because you'll still have plenty of choices and lots of Asian specialties, but of course also lots of North American cuisine as well. So you can have a little bit of everything, but I love having all the Asian soups and the noodles and trying all their specialties. And that's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We also can look after most dietary needs, so you can just let us know. That's the soup station there. So basically, you'll just pick out what you want, they'll make it for you, and then they'll hand it off to you. The chef's table here is lovely as well. It's a private dining venue. There's about maybe 20 guests at a time. And so you can have a different tasting experience. It's all included. So if it's a birthday or something special, we were celebrating a birthday, so we all had a chance to have sort of a more intimate surrounding while we celebrated that. Of course, the food is special, but so is all the wonderful fruits of Southeast Asia. And there's so many different kinds. So many we, of course, don't get here. So you'll have the opportunity. They'll show you all the different fruits, the best way to cut them, the best time of year to eat them and such. So what better time? I mean, look at the size of those papayas and watermelons down there. They're huge. Also, you know, it's great to come when you're having that afternoon traveling on the river to just relax and unwind. You're touring, you're going. If you've been traveling for a while beforehand, it's nice to come up. These gals do a great job. They're very inexpensive to have these massages done. And it's just, you know, very much a part of Southeast Asia is having massages. So once you're up on deck, you can see the sceneries. We come along the river. You can take in a chair there and just relax. We were doing yoga every morning, which was wonderful. We have a wellness host, pardon me, on board the ship. And so we were doing, well, most of us were doing yoga, and some were just sitting and having coffee and watching the sunrise. So every morning it was a little different, but the lounge area outside there is just the spot you want to be. You can get a great book. We go past many temples. Sometimes we're just going along the river and there's beautiful foliage, and the kids run along the river and wave to you, and you can see all the little boats going by with people who live on these little boats, or maybe sometimes they're piled high with vegetables and they're going to market to take them from where they live farther up the river. There's a little pool in front there. You can't really see it, but you can see the blue. So it's nice if you just want to take a dip, you can go in the pool. And then of course at the other end is the bar. So you can, you know, have a drink anytime you want. In the evening as well, we do have people who come on the ship. They'll do some entertainment for us. We have kids coming on, they'll do dancing, sometimes they'll do singing. They do very, you know, local entertainment. And then we do have a talent night with all the crew, which is their funnest night. They just love sharing. Some of them are extremely talented. Some of them are very funny. So, you know, it's very casual atmosphere on board. You know, you don't need fancy clothes. It's quite a warm climate, of course. Everything's air conditioned, but it is very casual and comfortable. And you get to interact with these people and see all the things that they do. And having especially the kids come on, for me, is always a highlight. And they're very, you know, local dances and such. Especially music. I mean, you know, what kind of instrument is this, right? It's almost like a flute board, and it's amazing. You know, it's just very different than our history here in North America. Along the way, when we're traveling up the river, we'll be stopping all along the river, visiting these very different little towns, and mostly towns. Some are big cities, but mostly just towns. It's not till we get up into, you know, Phnom Penh and these areas where they're bigger cities, but it's so interesting to come ashore and see how local people live, what they eat. You can walk through their markets and see all the colorful foods. I love just stopping and looking. Of course, they have everything you can imagine at the market. So, you know, fish and all sorts of critters, bugs, everything you can imagine, beetles. You know, but these beautiful vegetables and fruits that are grown right there in their fields, and then you can come and get fresh food, because they don't go to Costco like we do and stock up for 2 weeks. They go every day. They come into town by boat or by bike, and then they pick up their local, you know.
Now, are those local markets where like locals would be going?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
you can see them. They all come and they've got their packs full of stuff, and they're taking what they need for the day. I mean, it's really smart. They get their fish, they get their vegetables, their rice. They go home, they cook it fresh, this beautiful meal, and then they come back the next day and pick up what they need for the next day. Along the way too, you know, you're stopping to see how silk is made. You're stopping to see how this particular one is a rice paper workshop. So you get to see how they make the big rice paper circles. I had my daughter in there. It was really funny. She mastered it quite quickly. So I said, oh, well, you should be doing more cooking at home. But, you learn about things like that. And it's just fascinating. Here you are on the other side of the world, and we're just seeing all these very, things we eat sometimes that we don't even think about how they're made or where they come from. Tan Chao is a lovely local village, and we get to walk through their town. We go and visit some of the families here, and interact with the children. Of course, the kids are the most fun. If you want to bring them little pencils or crayons or things, you can, but usually we like to save that for the schools and when we go visit the kids at the school. So really the whole idea here is just to come in and visit the kids, and they love interacting with us because of course we look very different than them, and they look very different to us. So they love to take pictures, and I love the teenagers who have the cell phones and they're like, can I take a selfie with you? Just because we look so different, right? And taking different types of transportation. These are trishaws. So when we come into Tan Chao, we actually get into a trishaw, and everybody has their own trishaw. So we're like a little parade going through town, and we don't all come at the same time. We break it up into different groups. And it's fun because all the people come out and they wave at you, and we go through town as we visit these different areas, such as seeing how they weave, to make the mats and stuff, the rattan mats. Or it might be silk or whatever it is they're making. We can come right into their workshop, and then of course we can buy things if we want, but we certainly don't have to. It's more just to see how they are making things. So as we travel along the river, and of course I'm speeding this up quite a bit, there's more to it than that, but we come into Phnom Penh, which is the capital city of Cambodia. And they're a city of about 8 million people. This funny looking building here is right in sort of the center of the city. It's quite an amazing city. It actually has a very unique sort of long boulevard, much like you'd find in Lisbon or Barcelona, with, beautiful walking areas and statues and such, and people come out at night and walk through there, and there's so much to see. There really is. So we try to, pick the highlights, but this market is fun too. You can buy a watch. Probably not a good idea to buy a watch there, but you can buy watches, you can buy flip-flops, you can buy t-shirts and everything you can imagine. I like the market in Ho Chi Minh City better, but here is a lot of food as well. So again, local people coming to have lunch, pick up stuff for dinner, but beautiful flowers. I mean, I walked by and just endless stall after stall of these gorgeous flowers, and they're making these bouquets. And then of course the guy gets on his bike and off he rides on his motorbike with this huge floral arrangement on his bike. So that's, it's just amazing, even just to see all the different flowers, and of course all the fruits and vegetables and stuff. While we're in Phnom Penh, we're also visiting the National Museum. We see the Presidential Palace. We go see the pagoda. You can walk through the grounds. It's really, as I say, quite a spectacular area to walk through, seeing all the temples. We do a tuk-tuk ride as well. And then this is the Presidential Palace, the Royal Palace here. And so a beautiful palace to come and visit. One of the things we do during our time here, though, is we also go out to the killing fields. And of course, this was an area where the Khmer Rouge, they basically were killing anyone with a voice in Cambodia. They killed over 1 million people, which today leaves Cambodia as one of the youngest population in the world, just because so many of their family members, it wasn't that long ago, 1975. So, you know, they lost so much of their family and they tell you their stories. It's very heartbreaking. It's also very important to remember. So we do go out there. If you don't want to do that, we certainly have other tours happening. We're on the ship here, but we're still in the Phnom Penh area, and we're heading out to Udon. This monastery is the largest monastery in all of Cambodia. It's beautiful. And we get to have our own blessing with the monks. And then afterwards, if you want to have a private blessing with the monk, you can. And it's very, very special because, you know, they do a prayer for you, and, you know, you get to partake in that. And I thought that was, you know, a really, really special day. So now, again, different way of taking transportation. Now, we don't make you do this from the ship. Like you'd be doing this, you know, we'd take a coach or we'd come in a tender boat to the town. And then we start taking these various different types of transportation, just so you can see what it's like. So the ox cart ride, you can go as a couple or as an individual. And we kind of go through part of town just so you can experience what it's like, go by some of the folks' home.
This was really fun.
Yeah.
It's a really fun, really fun time. And it's actually surprisingly comfortable. It doesn't look it, but it really was.
Yeah, it was.
Now, is this all included with the cruise as well?
Yes, everything we do is
Right.
all included. So all your touring, your temple visits, anything we do is included in the price. And you know, it's kind of interesting to go by people's homes. To have an oxen is quite, you know, prestigious because they're very useful animals, and because they're hard workers and they're transportation providers. And just seeing the different various types of homes, which of course are very, very simple, but they're all very happy and they're all very comfortable. Now we'll carry on and we'll see things like, this is Kai Bay, and we'll see how they make, you know, puffed rice candy. If you remember, like puffed rice, and they make it sweet, the little caramels, they're making little sort of sweet toffee there, which is really nummy. They've got beautiful paintings, and yeah, you get to see how they make puffed rice and all different things. Of course, you can do a snake wine tasting. I highly recommend you don't do a snake wine tasting. Just come and watch. They have different kinds of wine too. You can see scorpions and all sorts of critters in there. But to them, it's very, very special. They think this is, you know, a real treat to have snake wine and such. We do go to Akati to visit the school kids. I love this part too. And we get to sing with them, and they sing to us, and they sing, you know, a song in their language, and then we'd sing one in ours. And then we'll ask them something like, what's your favorite song? And of course they'll sing something like, You Are My Sunshine, right? So, but it's good. It's a great way for them to learn English. And it's very important there for their kids to go to school. And they all wear, typically they all have uniforms on, which is good. I always like to see that, but they're delightful, and they're just always so excited to show you what they know. We also go over, and it's really unique to come into this village because it's kind of like an island along the river that we get to walk through and see all these wonderful things. And this woman here, you can see the silkworms, and she's, you know, weaving them into silk and then threading it and then making these beautiful fabrics. So
Oh, that looks amazing.
yeah, it was. It's really, really special. And again, I say I'm just shortening this all down, but once we're finished the cruise, as we've cruised up 7 nights, now we're going to come into Siem Reap, which was a highlight for me as well. And as I say, this is home to Angkor Wat. And this is the beautiful Sofitel Resort. So all our hotels in Southeast Asia, the Sofitel in Ho Chi Minh, in Siem Reap, and of course up in Hanoi as well. And we'll stay here for 3 nights, beautiful property, nice spacious rooms, gorgeous buffet breakfast, enough food to last you till dinner. And going out, there are so many fantastic restaurants here to go and have an evening out. And along the way as well, like in Phnom Penh, you can leave the ship and, you know, and try a restaurant there as well. But beautiful, you know, beautiful food, very good, very inexpensive. But the highlight, of course, is coming in and seeing Angkor Wat, which is a UNESCO site. An incredible structure as you walk through these temples and see the detail, and it takes hours. I mean, you can do it in a couple hours, but you could spend, you know, a whole day there. Sometimes I would go in the morning and come back in the afternoon to see the sunset, or come in the morning for sunrise, which is very special. There's another, I mean, look at the detail. Some of these you can tell they've been redone, you know, they've recreated the head because it was obviously destroyed. But just walking along, and you know, you might come in a tuk-tuk. When you come on our tour, of course, we bring you in a big air-conditioned coach, and then you get outside and you walk through all the temple sites. Ta Prohm, of course, is where Lara Croft Tomb Raider was filmed years ago. This whole temple structure was covered by roots of the tree, and eventually they found it and started to unearth it so you could come and see it. And it's huge. It's a massive temple. Bante Shre, known as the Lady Temple because of the pink, you know, beautiful limestone. It's gorgeous, or sandstone, beautiful. At that point, we're going to fly up to Hanoi. And Hanoi, of course, is the capital of Vietnam. And we stay at the Sofitel Metropole, another beautiful property. This gives you time to explore this city, and again, try a different mode of transportation. Just let them take you around. There's so many people in these cities. And then we go to the Temple of Literature. We do a water puppet show. This has always been considered sort of a cultural highlight in Vietnam. And the water puppets they use the water as a stage. And then there's a big pagoda in behind, and the puppeteers are, you know, housed in behind there, so you can't see them. And they do this whole performance. From there, we'll head over to Halong Bay, another beautiful UNESCO site. And Halong Bay is about 172 kilometers away. So we take a big coach out there. And this bay is made up of 1,600 islands. Most of them are, well, there's not people on them because you can't inhabit these islands, but they're all made out of limestone. They're quite unique, and there's some beautiful caves in here. We can do a little cave touring, and you spend one night overnight in Halong Bay on the beautiful Paradise Elegance. So you don't bring all your luggage and such. You're just coming on board to experience Halong Bay and do it right, you know, live on the water for a night. And then, as I say, we do have some touring where you can go off and explore some of those caves. So, and then we come back to Hanoi, and it's time to say goodbye and head off to either home, or you might go over to Bangkok or into Myanmar, or up into, you know, Laos, depending on where you're going to next. Do we have time for Egypt very quickly?
Absolutely. I was going to quickly ask you, what is the best time to go for the Mekong?
Yeah, we go to the Mekong July, August, right through until April, the end of April. May, June, we don't sail because we need to dock the ships anyway and do all the maintenance, and it's just too hot and humid and kind of cyclone-y at that time. The summertime is very humid and can be rainy. So as you move more into winter, by the time you get to November, when we were there, the temperature was perfect, very nice and warm, but not too humid. And then of course, as you go into January, February, March, it's drier. So not humid, but hot. And by the time you get to March and April, it's very hot and dry. So there's all different climates, but for Canadians, going there in the winter is the perfect time for us to go, and it's pretty much the best time to be there.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we were there in November too, and it was fantastic, and a great trip down memory lane, Shauna. Thank you. It was lovely. And I didn't do the Hanoi portion because I couldn't be away that long, because I was also doing another tour back to back with this one. But definitely going to go back, do it again, and do Hanoi. It looks fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So if I can just very quickly show you what's coming up for us, we're very excited because we used to be in Egypt up until 2010. And at that time we left, and now we're very excited to be coming back. We'll be starting our program there in September of 2021. And I'm already booked. All my friends that went to Vietnam with me and myself and some new friends as well, we're going in April of 2022. So, you know, you got to book these holidays and be prepared. But we're going to have this beautiful itinerary with 7 nights on the Nile. And the Nile's the longest river in the world. And spend 4 nights in Cairo, this incredible city of 22 million people. And take in all those beautiful temples and tombs along the Nile River. And then we'll also offer the opportunity to go and see the beautiful area of Jordan. So, and the hotels are spectacular. I mean, look at the St. Regis here. So the St. Regis will come into Jordan to see this area abandoned in the 10th century and rediscovered much later. Here's the treasury. I mean, these people disappeared literally, and it wasn't found again till mid 1800s. And this whole structure is one rock. You know, it's just spectacular to see. So the actual main, that will be a pre-tour if people want to do it. But the main portion of the package will be spending this time in Cairo, in this beautiful city. As I say, Cairo is Egyptian for conqueror, staying at the gorgeous Four Seasons Hotel. The old Cairo's just behind us here, the old town, but it's a bit chaotic and busy. So we wanted to stay over here by the river, you know, Botanical Gardens, City Park, so that you can do all that gorgeous touring and then of course, come back and enjoy this gorgeous hotel. So we'll be visiting the Egyptian Museum with all of King Tut's treasures. We'll be going over, we'll have beautiful food as well. That's always important. We'll see the pyramids of Giza, of course. And at the same time, these are the largest pyramids. And so we'll be going there. We'll see the Great Sphinx. The Sphinx, of course, is the king's head and then the body of a lion. And again, all carved out of one rock. And so just something we'll see along the way. I'm doing a shortened version here for you. Flying down to Luxor, it's only, you know, not that far away, an hour plane ride away, to get on our beautiful new AmaDahlia. The dahlia is the national flower of Egypt. And here, this is just an artist rendering because the ship is still in the shipyard being finished, but beautiful, only 34 staterooms, really nice and comfortable. You can see the layout here, nice open air, very intimate. You know, the chef's table is there as well.
Beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, it's going to be lovely. Perfect place to come and sail down the Nile and to see, you know, Luxor Temple, of course. You can wear, you know, shorts, t-shirts here for these temples. You don't have to be all covered up, only the mosque in Cairo. You do need good walking shoes, and everything is included here. And the best part is we'll have 3 tour guides and 3 Egyptologists. So each group will have small groups of 20. Each group will have their own Egyptologist and their own tour guide. Plus we have our cruise manager. So every question you have can be answered. You know, this queen, we call her hot chicken soup because it's the easiest way to say that. But she was actually considered very powerful and strong. She was the first female leader. So when you go and see the statues, you'll notice she has a mustache in some and muscles, because that's how they saw her, as this very, you know, important woman. Queen Nefertari, this is another temple that will go. She was married to King Ramses II. And then the Karnak Temple. This is one of the oldest temples in all of Egypt. It's about 2,000 years old, and it sits on 250 acres. So, I mean, you can just imagine, this temple was actually found by a French archaeologist in the 1800s, and the Temple of Whores. Nice word. And so, you know, these are just the kind of things you're going to keep seeing. We go into a Nubian village in Aswan, and every home, this is somebody's home from the Nubian people, and they tell a story of their family on their home. So every home is different. So as you walk through, you learn all the stories of these different families. And then we'll have a beautiful lunch here with the Nubian people. We do have this incredible optional tour. This is the only tour we don't include. So everything else is included. And going into Abu Simbel, which is an engineering feat in itself to think it was down near the river. They dammed the river, created Lake Nasser, and it was going to flood this whole tomb. So they moved it brick by brick, 600 feet up, so that it would be preserved. And it baffles my mind. So you can purchase that in advance with us. And then, of course, come back to Cairo for one more day to see, there's the beautiful old mosque I was talking about. We also go and see the presidential palace, which is a treat because very few people include this. And we actually have our farewell lunch right in the palace, which is a really important palace there, full of beautiful art treasures. And then for those who just want a taste of Israel, we are going into Jerusalem. We're staying at the beautiful Waldorf Astoria Hotel for 4 nights there. And then we're going to go look at Masada. This was the home of the first Jewish-Roman war. You can only get up there by cable car. You can kind of see it on the left. In the far distance, you can see the Dead Sea there. And then we will, of course, go over so you can have a float in the Dead Sea. So that's just a very quick view of Egypt. So much more to tell you there, but we're very, very excited. And it's extremely well priced for what's all included. Incredible itinerary.
Well, that's great, Shauna. That's really exciting because I don't think Egypt has been open to you for quite a while.
Yeah, it is literally and figuratively the hottest destination right now.
I was just there in about a year ago now, and it was absolutely spectacular. So this was neat to see it this way, but I think that what the program you've got is perfect. And what I would say is if anybody does go, do not miss Abu Simbel. It's priceless. It's one of the highlights of the trip. So definitely a must do for sure.
Oh, I've been told.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. You will love it. So, well, thank you so much, Shauna. We really appreciate you coming. I know that you're probably getting zoomed out with all of these shows that you're doing. And it's a new time. It's how we do things now. So much appreciated. And so we'll end off today by saying our show next week is going to be a little bit different. We're actually replacing our annual Extraordinary Departures travel show that we do normally locally in the private club. But because we can't do that in person this year, we're going to be doing a 3-hour basically like a symposium. And we're starting off with a panel of 5 industry experts from each sector in the industry that will show or tell us really what they're doing in their industry and in their sector to make sure that our guests are safe when they travel. So I think that's going to be really interesting. And then we've also got 5 different suppliers from various different sectors that are going to be giving us a travel talk, much like Shauna did today, on partly what they're doing in their sector, but partly what's new and exciting, what they've got going on. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. And Shauna, I think someday we'll have you back and just go over that whole Egypt program a little bit more slowly and see, maybe we'll see the pictures from your trip.
Oh, great. I'd love to come back. Thank you so much for letting me join you today.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And, yeah, we'll see you all next time. Thank you.